Did you know that zodiac sign Aquarius is the most conscious of all the zodiac signs? You could call it psychic, you could call it pattern recognition, but this energy simply knows stuff. Look at your astrology natal chart to see where you have zodiac sign Aquarius. This is a part of your life that will be illuminated under this full moon in Aquarius. Welcome back to the Aquarius podcast, where we talk about astrology and emotional intelligence. Aquarius is ruled by two planets in astrology. One of them is Saturn, also the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn has 274 confirmed moons on that planet. Uranus has 29 known moons. When you put that together, what you get is 303 moons. A moon in astrology is a satellite. So an Aquarian is connected to a lot of information. These people, when they have a question about a situation, can literally sit still with that question and the answer will just come to them. They are magnets for data, for information, for systems, for processing systems, understanding systems, mastering systems, figuring out flaws in systems. All of this comes to them very easily because they actually are operating with the most satellites out of the entire world of astrology. The tension with this moon is that Aquarians are naturally connected to water because it's a water bearer, and they are connected to air, energy. So there is sensitivity here with Aquarian energy. Intuition is about the mother. The moon is about the mother. It's about what you can't prove that you just know. Kind of like when a mother is pregnant, no one knows until she says. There is a huge part of that whole pregnancy that is kind of a secret. That's what intuition is about. The tension with Aquarian moon is the connection between the masculine and the feminine, because air energy is naturally masculine. It's what you can prove. It's what the data shows. It's the information we can collect. But intuition is what we cannot prove just yet. Aquarians know things ahead of time. So they struggle to communicate with others who don't have an open mind and who are not comfortable with possibilities. For Aquarius, the future is now. And everyone else, it feels like, is in the past. A lot of what Aquarians came to do here on Earth is light a new way forward to a new reality that makes life on Earth a little bit less painful. So the growth edge with the Aquarian moon is, how do I reconcile my sensitivity with my intellect? I know it's the alien of the zodiac, but it doesn't mean they're devoid of emotions. I would argue they're more sensitive than anyone else because they have so many moons. And the moon, ruler of Cancer, is about sensitivity. But Aquarians are generally afraid of emotionality, sensitivity, because that is less contained. You can't control emotions. Saturn, the ruler of Aquarius, requires containment. Many Aquarians lean towards their masculinity, which is the factual side, when they are still uncomfortable or underdeveloped in their sensitivity. The growth edge looks like honoring your sensitivity, your intuition, what you know to be true, with your intellect, with the tangible reality of your world, and making both of these realities integrate into a very unique perspective that you operate out of. Now on to the horoscopes for all 12 zodiac signs. Remember, a full moon is about illuminating our shadows. We all have shadows because a light cannot exist without a shadow, and we're all stars. We're all filled with light. How bright that light shines has everything to do with how much work, emotional, spiritual labor we're willing to do around our shadows. Aries Rising for you, this falls in the 11th house. This is the house of brotherly love, the house of friendship, the house of Aquarius. This is about your community, and ideally our community is bound by our ideals. You may be feeling like a fish out of water in your community. It may be because you are avoiding certain conversations that need to be had so that you can figure out who is actually your community and who is not. So say the thing. Taurus Rising, for you, this falls in the 10th house, which is the house of our public image. The 10th house is also about our soul's calling and purpose. You may be rethinking your career choices, decisions that you've made, career moves. You may be rethinking the kind of legacy you want to leave on the world and how your current situation is aligning or not aligning with that. The area where you're being pushed to transform is your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your self-esteem. A lot of times when Taurus is underdeveloped, they think possessions means they feel good. And when they have all the possessions and they don't feel good, that's usually their wake-up call, because usually they start with what's low to the ground, which is what possessions are, seeds that you plant that grow. Money comes from the earth. It's all low to the ground, jewels low to the ground. And then we go higher, right? At their highest state, Taurus is about healthy self-esteem, which is about a healthy relationship with your body. So that's what you're being called to investigate how your relationship with your body is affecting your work, your career, your public image. Gemini Rising, for you, this falls in the 9th house, which is the house of higher learning. It's the house of knowledge, the house of Sagittarius. You're being called to investigate your belief system and your relationship with truth, what it means to you, what it means to others. How do you find the compromise? The area where you're being challenged is how your identity is wrapped up around ideals, belief systems, worldviews that may not align with you anymore. You're not the same person that you were yesterday, and that's okay. Every day is a new day to redefine who we are. The most important thing is to communicate with the people closest to us whenever who we thought we were has transitioned. So make peace with your new identity. Growth is a natural part of life. As long as we're alive, every day we should be growing. It's nothing to be ashamed of. The only thing is to be honest with yourself about the fact that you're growing. And sometimes growth is painful, and that's okay too. Cancer Rising, for you, this falls in the 8th house, which is the house of shared resources. It's also the house of secrets. It's the house that houses all of our trauma. You're being asked to investigate how your emotional pain or how your codependency in relationship has prevented you from really taking a hard look at deep-rooted issues that are in the background running the show. Oftentimes, when we're not ready to deal with our stuff, and we all have stuff, what we do is we find other people that we perceive to be as wounded as we are, and we attach to them as a way to legitimize our stuff, right? It's like, you're broken, I'm broken, we're both doing this together. Unfortunately, that isn't healing. It does offer resonance because somebody else can say, yeah, I feel what you're feeling, or yeah, I go through crazy stuff too, or yeah, I'm going through this hard thing. But that's very different from actually facing our stuff individually and engaging in the emotional labor of exorcism, kind of pulling it out and looking at it. So you have a lot of buried emotional material related to past trauma that you were indirectly trying to manage in partnership. And you're being asked to sit with that in silence, to be with that quietly, and to see what kind of work you can do around releasing some of that. Leo Rising, for you, this falls in the 7th house. The 7th house is the house of partnership. It's the house of Libra. It's the house of justice and fairness in partnership. You're being asked to make some changes with how you show up in community, not just in intimate relationships, which is what the 7th house is about. It's about relationships with our business partners, relationships with our spouse, a long-term, boyfriend and girlfriend, that kind of thing. It's about relationships where there's intimacy and there is a contractual agreement, whether that is spoken or implied. The area where the universe is pushing you is around how you go about making sure that you're being fair to yourself when you're in partnership, and how that fairness that you give to yourself gets extended to other people. People who do not share your values, your ethics, your principles are not people that you can have equitable partnerships with. It's good to be open to the reality that all of us have different values and ethics on earth, and that's a beautiful thing, and that's what makes us such a diverse bunch as a human race. However, when it comes to protecting the safety, the pride of your heart, it's important that you choose partnership with people who align with your ethics, your values, your vision for the world, because those are the only people that you can truly be yourself with. So take a look at your friend group and take a look at your intimate relationships and see where there's alignment and where, there's a lack of reciprocity, and where there is a lack of reciprocity, you're being asked to let go. Virgo Rising, for you, this falls in the 6th house, which is the house of health and wellness. Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, is asking you to take a look at your career. It's possible that right now your career is creating an environment where there's a lack of work-life balance. Oftentimes when I see this combo, what it means is that things at work have gotten unhealthy, and they've gotten so unhealthy that they're now affecting you emotionally and they're affecting your health. I want you to remember that this transit is happening at a Virgo degree. So you are going to be impacted very intimately because Aquarian energy is very penetrating in that way. And what you're being asked to do is to be realistic about your public image, your soul's calling, its alignment with your public image, your career, the decisions you're making around that, and how they're affecting your ability to take care of your body, to take care of your emotional well-being, as well as your mental health. Is there a lack of balance? What can you do to restore that balance? That's the work you're being called to. Libra Rising, for you, this falls in the 5th house, which is the house of joy, the house of pleasure. You're being asked to express yourself. This transit is bringing truth to a worldview, a belief system, ideology that you may have held onto that are no longer resonating for you as truthful. In order for you to continue to experience joy, your heart, your spirit, your soul has to be in harmony with your frequency of truth. You see, truth is not always a universal concept. The lesson of the 9th house of Sagittarius is that the world is a really big place and everybody has a different point of view, and that's what makes this beautiful. Part of that beauty comes from embracing diversity. And when we're someone who naturally leans towards this idea of embracing diversity, when we're in scenarios or situations, relationships where our truth is being denied or suppressed, it steals our joy, because joy cannot exist in an environment where one cannot be themselves. Beliefs and worldviews are a reflection of our hearts. It's who we are. So take a look at your belief system and your worldview and see how some of these belief systems are no longer aligning with your authentic self. If you can identify what those are, it's okay to let them go. Again, all of us are here to grow. Every day is an opportunity to be a new version of ourselves, and pure joy, pure pleasure comes from synastry, meaning harmony, energetic harmony with this is who I am, this is what I think, this is what I believe. And it's in that safety that we give ourselves the freedom to explore the world. So take a look at that, at your spirituality, your religion, and your worldview, and how it's affecting your ability to communicate, to express yourself freely, and to be your authentic self. Scorpio Rising, for you, this falls in the 4th house, which is the house of the home. This is the house of our mother. It's the house of our childhood. It's the house of our memories. It's the house of our history. It's the house of our sensitivity, our intuition. For you, Uranus is asking you to examine how the secrecy that you hold around your home, your trauma, your history is replaying itself in your relationship right now with emotional safety. One of the things that I love about therapy that is counterintuitive is that when you talk about something that's bothering you in therapy or in any setting, whether it's coaching or therapy or any type of healing program you're part of, when you get to express something that's bothering you in a safe space, you immediately feel better, even when you don't have a resolution to the thing that is bothering you. The process of expressing oneself around discomfort in and of itself is comforting because it provides affirmation and validation for that reality, and the environment that we're in can hold what we're unloading, because what we're unloading is very human. Uranus in 8th house has come to destroy falsehood around the work that we think we've done, because Aquarius energy can be very detached. It's easy to say, oh yeah, I've processed that, I've moved past that. But the real test of processing it and moving past it is actually being more free. That's how we know that we're in our healthy state, is that we're free. We're free to express ourselves. We're free to tell our stories. You get to decide who and what you are. You get to decide what stories you carry forward. You get to decide what level of agency you have over the ability to transform your life. Is it possible to share resources without codependency? And if so, what would that look like for you? That's the work of unlearning some of the childhood trauma patterns and then picking up new habits that offer more individuation, which is really what this full moon is about. Who am I away from my family and my spouse? Sagittarius Rising for you, this falls in the third house, which is a house of communication, processing information. It's really data analysis. This is the house of Gemini. It's also the house of contradictions. What we say, what we do, what we say, and who we are. This full moon transit is calling you to reconcile some contradictions in your close, intimate relationships. There's something that you need to say out loud in some of those relationships that you have not said. I want you to trust that the relationships can handle honesty. This is a perfect time for you to say the thing that you've been avoiding. Relationships deepen whenever we can speak freely, truth and honesty. It allows others to get to know you more intimately and honor you exactly as you are. Capricorn Rising, for you, this falls in the second house. You're being asked to take a look at your relationship with yourself in terms of your self-esteem, your self-worth, your relationship with your finances in terms of how you're managing it, and the level of seriousness that you put on money management. You're being asked to look at your resources and which ones are fulfilling your emotional needs and which ones are not. Uranus in the sixth house is highlighting how your relationship with yourself is affecting your well-being. This is a theme that came up with Taurus, that's coming up with Capricorn, because earth signs tend to struggle with connecting with themselves without an intermediate. And usually the intermediate is resources. For earth signs in general, their self-esteem often comes from how much money they have, the things they can afford, like the tangible things, like, do you have a house? How many houses do you have? Do you have a car? How many cars do you have? Those kinds of tangible material possessions. For many of them, self-esteem is wrapped up in that. So they're willing to continue chasing after these things because they fill that bucket of feeling good about oneself, feeling worthy, feeling valuable, which is something all of us want to feel. There's nothing wrong with that feeling and with that desire. What Aquarius is asking Capricorn to investigate is, are you able to give yourself that esteem that you're chasing through labor? Doing more work won't make you feel good about yourself if you don't feel good about yourself, which is why you're doing more work. Like, I'm gonna burn the candle at both ends so I can have these things, so I can feel like I'm worthy and I can feel accomplished, which, by the way, feeling accomplished isn't the same thing as feeling worthy, because you can feel like you do a good job and you can feel like you're good at what you do and you can feel like you're making a valuable contribution to the world, but you can still feel like something is missing inside, because the true labor is emotional in nature. It's mental health related. It's more about creating a routine that honors the sacred body that you are and that pampers it, because the more you invest in taking care of your physical body, starting with the skin, the easier it's going to be to feel worthy. So worthiness for you is actually quite sensual. It's embodied, it's physical, because all the earth signs are sensual in nature. Take some time under this full moon in Aquarius to really think about your health, your well-being, and how your health is impacted by your relationship with yourself, by your self-esteem, and how that translates into this fear about not having enough and this drive to continue to chase after material possessions as a way to fulfill that emotional need. Aquarius Rising, this is all about you. This full moon transit is literally about your identity, and it's about your need to reclaim your identity, your need to reclaim your right to be an individual, to be different, your need to celebrate the joys of being unique, of having a unique, interesting voice, to celebrate the pleasures of being yourself. The Aquarian star came to teach all of us that there's beauty in being different, because when all of us are the same, life is boring. It's predictable, yes, it's safe, but it's boring. And boring is the opposite of fun. So fun for Aquarius energy comes from embracing their uniqueness. And the more they do that, the less critical and judgmental they are about other people being different, because they understand we all process the world differently. So what you're being asked to investigate is your relationship with self-expression, with joy, with pleasure? How much permission are you giving yourself to experience joy? If you're denying yourself these pleasures, is it because you don't want to take space? Is it because you're hiding? Is it because you don't want to be who you are? Now, I know those are some heavy questions, but it's really about taking some time to reflect. Aquarian energy is cerebral, it's intellectual, and it's deeply intuitive. If you truly feel safe in your body and you truly feel healthy and beautiful, then why are you hiding? I just want you to think about that, because Aquarius is the sister of Leo after all. This energy is here to illuminate a way forward specific to self-love. Leo is love. Aquarius is self-love. A healthy Aquarian demonstrates that. And the more they make that a practice, the more self-love they manifest in their circle, in their environment, because everyone can feel that they are comfortable with being themselves. And somehow, just that frequency activates something in others when others witness them. They too want to be more like themselves. Pisces Rising, for you, this falls in the 12th house, which is the house of our subconscious mind, our karma, karmic endings. So you're closing a karmic cycle, buried emotional material that is still running the show from the background. It's about finding the courage, okay, to be curious enough about why we're running away from this thing. You're being asked to investigate that. What is it that's going on or that went on in your family home and in your family relationships that's preventing you from taking a hard look at these issues that you would rather bury than actually confront? There's a pressure valve here that's going to be erupting for you under this full moon in Aquarius. And it's happening not to cause you pain, but to relieve you of burdens that you've been carrying that are no longer yours, that you need to put down. It's about managing the emotional burdens that are yours instead of burying them, and then putting a boundary between you and others' emotional burdens that are getting in the way of your evolution. You're being asked to spend a lot of time in solitude. Whatever comes up for you during the quiet times is coming up to help you restructure your relationship with your home, with your tradition, with your family of origin, and really outline for yourself how some of those themes and patterns have dictated how you behave in the world. It's time for you to really reconcile with who you are and who you were told that you are, or what was projected onto you to make other people feel comfortable, and separate those two things so you can be more responsible for what's actually yours to own and manage your emotional sensitivity from that place. Pisces energy can be highly absorbent of other people's mess. And if we're not careful, the people that we surround ourselves with can create mess in our lives without us even realizing that they are impacting our lives in this way. This is why Pisces came to work on boundaries. Saturn is about boundaries. Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius energy. Your signature, your energetic signature is very welcoming, and that's a beautiful thing. But if you're not careful, if you don't have discernment, if you're not thoughtful about what kinds of energies you welcome and what kinds you reject, you will absorb other people's mess and make that your personality. And you will protect their mess to keep them from the shame that they've given to you to manage. You are being asked to take care of your emotional well-being, to address the mommy issues that are keeping you from setting boundaries, speaking up from a place of emotional sensitivity. You're actually one of the most sensitive souls on earth. And if you were not allowed to be in touch with this side of yourself, it can be hard to protect yourself from being harmed by others because you don't recognize your sensitivity, even though other people around you recognize it. Spend some time alone thinking about what this means for you moving forward in terms of what kinds of relationships you want to cultivate, what kinds of energies you want these people to bring to you, What kind of emotional safety do you require in partnership, in friend groups? And what does that look like in practice? If you've never felt emotionally safe in your relationship with your mother or in your relationship with your family in your home, it can be hard to identify that. And if that's the case, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to really reflect on, what does that mean? What does emotional safety mean to me? How do I know that somebody is emotionally safe for me? What are behaviors that indicate that they're safe? Consistent patterns of behaviors, not just one offs, but how do they show up in the world when you look at their pattern? What sorts of patterns am I looking for in somebody that tell me that this is a safe person? It's time for you to protect your vulnerability, and it's going to require some solitude for you to really investigate your vulnerabilities and investigate what sorts of persons you want around you that will honor that vulnerability so that you can swim in safe and comfortable waters for all of your days. I certainly hope that everyone takes some time to reflect on what this full moon in Aquarius is exposing for them personally, and that all of us are willing to receive what comes up for us. Because it's coming under this Virgo energy, it's going to be precise, practical. There are going to be specific examples provided to us so we can notice the pattern. It's going to feel a bit mechanical, and it might even burn a little, because sometimes the ego gets bruised on the path to the truth, and that's okay. The main thing is to learn the lesson. If we're willing to be honest, these are not going to be new lessons. If we're willing to be honest, a lot of what's coming is what we already knew. We already knew, but now we're being asked to actually work on it, okay? It's not running in the background anymore. It's right here in front of us, and it's time for us to do something about it. I look forward to reconnecting with you on August 12th for the new moon solar eclipse in Leo. Thank you for listening to the Aquarius podcast. You can book your astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. You can also watch videos at Intuitive Healing here on YouTube for Astrology 101 content. Listen to the Aquarius podcast on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube for your horoscope. If you're interested in astrology and love connections, you can visit at Styled Under Libra. And of course, for health and wellness and holistic healing, visit at Styled Under Virgo for all of your astrology content. Thanks so much for watching.